Hey, it's Ducky, and we're here with a super exciting, little bit different Aloha Thumbprint podcast. And we're here with my number one man, well, my only man, I guess, hubby.
Good news.
Rhino Irwin. And also we have the honor of talking with Charles, who is the field leader of Power, and you're here to help us kick off this exciting launch here in Hawaii. So thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, truly, Ducky.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited because we get to do a little bit of a different version of the podcast today because I really want people to understand the aloha behind Go Local Powur and the opportunities that it's going to bring people here in Hawaii, and then also understand your heart and the heart of power, and then how all of this is going to work in the industry. And of course, we just want to get to know a little bit about you and your Aloha thumbprint as well.
Exciting.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Maybe we can take it back to how we met. It's probably a great way. Being in the solar industry for over a decade, one of the things that we really recognized, particularly in the residential solar market here in Hawaii, is that there was only a handful of solar professional salespeople that are obviously in solar sales. It's about education. I think things that you preach to me and educating the customer and helping customers understand the value of solar. However, we tend to get a lot of people that come to Hawaii to sell solar to benefit from the commissions that are generated, obviously, from the sales. And for Ducky and I, we wanted to see that be a little more inclusive so the people here in Hawaii, in the community, could benefit from the clean energy transition that we're going through right now at the very beginning, really. In doing so, we were seeking out a platform to track commissions and how to create a referral-based commission program structure, and I discovered Power. And reached out to all the executives I could on LinkedIn, and one guy responded back, Mr. Charles Thompson. So yeah, thank you first of all for responding and taking the message and sticking with me and helping get this thing launched in Hawaii. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. It was just truly meant to be. Obviously, there is not an intention for Power to be in Hawaii anytime in the near or distant future because we had so much going on. But once we connected and I got a chance to really understand what your desires were, I knew it was a perfect match. And I was willing to go to battle to make sure the company would make the decision. But it wasn't a quick decision because you and I had to go back a few times on that.
I remember it took about 7 or 8 months to really make it happen, to get the right thing to launch and get it started. So,
but you happened to go to a convention where our CEO Jonathan and some of our other team members were, and you just said, make the introduction. So I did, and everything began to flow.
Here we are.
So thank you for that.
No, thank you.
Yeah, I think that it was all about the intention, right? Is bringing this something similar, an opportunity to Hawaii, where we even attempted to build it ourselves. And that's why it was so nice when we actually found Power, because it was like the heart was in alignment. In fact, speaking of the heart, you guys do this wild thing called the heart hug. What the heck is a heart hug?
I learned that 8 years ago when I started with Power, and it's just the embrace for the opposite side that everybody's used to. However, I'll come back to that. I actually learned about where it all began, which was here in Hawaii, the true heart hug. It began more to just embrace someone and get the feel of the heart, as opposed to just, the typical, hey, come up and half you're hanging over. It really, you embrace and you hold each other. Yeah, what's up? No, it's really, truly an embrace. And it takes a little getting used to, as we witnessed today.
Can come off a little awkward at first, yes.
Yeah, but sometimes it looks like you're going to kiss somebody when you go back and forth. But one of the greatest experiences I had with a heart hug is when I was at our first launch event, and this 6'8" man comes, he's waiting in line. I'm meeting people, and he said he wanted to thank me for doing a heart hug. I was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. How do you know the heart hug? And he goes, well, I'll tell you the reason for the heart hug. Can I show you? I said, well, of course, sure. And he got closer and closer and closer, and he was literally face to face. And then he said, this is the heart hug. And then he hugged me the same way. I was like, wow, that was impactful. He said, you are no longer a haole. And I said, what do you mean I'm no longer a haole? It's because that's why we called people haole, because they didn't hug with breath.
Yes.
And I went, oh my gosh, that meant so much more from that point forward. It's like, now it really means something. Now, I admit I can't go up to people and just go straight to their face, but it was a beautiful experience.
It can be even a little weird in Hawaii for people who aren't used to it. But, when we try to explain this concept of aloha, it's tough for people to grasp. And I love to explain it as think of the best hug you've ever gotten, where you can just melt and embrace. And there's a sense of, vulnerability and knowing that the other person is going to be there to just completely support you and they've got you, right? There's a sense of safety. And so that's what I think of when you're talking about this heart hug, and it's like coming together of you want to try to give me a heart hug? No, not right now. Okay. Because sometimes I feel like when I do something, it's easier for me to explain. But yeah, that's really cool. And I do also agree that it feels like the other person's going to kiss you. So it is a little weird.
Sometimes.
But yeah, so where was that you met that person?
That was at our first launch event that we had, and I can't remember what that location was. And I've got to seek him out at our main event because that was an impactful moment for me.
That was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was here.
Gosh, time has flown. When did we first do that?
March, end of March.
I'm thinking it was February. For some reason, it was
you're
closer
right.
to it was closer to
end of February.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's right.
In that same time frame. Yeah.
That's right, because we had to make sure that you carved out some time to honor your beautiful wife, Evangeline, and gave you guys a little bit of time, like 24 hours to go celebrate Valentine's Day.
We had such a wonderful experience. It was so much of an honor to get to meet members of the community and get a chance to see the similarities that exist between the Powur community and what I witnessed here in Hawaii.
So, yeah, I wanted to ask you that. How many times have you been out to the islands?
I've been through the islands dozens of times. I was stationed on the island of Guam in the United States Air Force for 5 years, but I never got a chance to really get involved in the community. Similar to the experiences that I had in Guam. And we had all the fiestas and just wonderful times to be in the community. I lived off the base and really embedded myself into the communities. I was in a country band, so I'd go around and perform and just get to know the locals, and I absolutely loved it. So when I came here, that feeling just came back. I was like, wow, this is just so beautiful, how people embrace each other and the kind of community that I felt to be part of.
See, that's what I really love about Aloha. It's ultimately this intention of coming from love, and it's just our version of it, what we call it. And so I love you sharing about that experience in Guam. In fact, you lived on Guam.
I was there for 6 months. Yeah, a couple times.
That counts.
Yes.
Living in Guam. Yeah, so, I mean, thinking back to that, did you notice some similarities?
Absolutely. Yeah, the culture is very similar. Instead of aloha in the greeting, they'll say hafa right? Can turn out to translate to half a day, like half a day's work. But no, the culture is very similar, and they have their own aloha thumbprint as well. Yeah.
So that's where America's Day begins.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh,
because the dateline,
yes.
international dateline.
I got you. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Well, speaking of Aloha thumbprint, you've been in you teach personal development. You have a what is it? The Freedom Academy?
The Freedom Educator.
That's right, because you are the Freedom Educator. Yes. So tell me all about that. What's the heart behind that?
Yeah, it was really a download or a delivery from God that said that I had content that should be provided.
Of course, in Hawaii. But you were just about to share about the Freedom Educator.
It was more of a vision that was given to me through God. And I was being awoken morning after morning at 3:33, and for no reason. I was sound asleep. But then I started hearing these voices and getting these thoughts. And it brought out a lot of things that I had learned over life and how I held myself back through limiting beliefs and through not communicating properly. And as I started getting the downloads, I decided to just create all that content, just written content. And then over a period of time, I've actually done video versions of the content, and I release it on my Instagram page, The Freedom Educator, every week, just one a week. And I don't charge for any of the education, but it's really to help people get over their limiting beliefs, and then I'll come in behind that with other content in the near future.
Some scary things can happen when you overcome limiting beliefs.
It's been a recurring theme for us.
Ask Ducky about it.
Well, we physically broke through our limiting beliefs, going through this exercise with the karate chop and all of that, right? And so my 3 limiting beliefs were that people won't like me. You like me, right?
I love you.
Okay, good. People won't like me. I'm not qualified or educated enough for the task at hand. And then also that I will be second choice. Go figure. Second choice isn't a bad thing to be, unless there's only 2 choices. But then
You're my first choice, obviously.
Remember I told you you're my number 1 man?
See?
You're my only man. Yeah. But yeah, so there was an exercise where we had to come up with a personal goal that would help us break through those limiting beliefs. And I didn't have any personal goals. Sometimes when you're in the life of, like, when you're serving community, you're serving others, sometimes it's so outward focused, you don't really think about anything for yourself. So they came up with a goal for me. And that was to run for Mrs. Hawaii International. So here we are.
And look what you did with that.
My goodness.
Look at that. We all have limiting beliefs where it comes from our childhood. Mm-hmm. Some just instilled through what our parents or school teachers or even friends instill upon us. And it's up to us to identify them and overcome them. And through the pathways that I'm delivering, that can do that. And there's a lot of ways to do it, but I happen to like mine.
Wow. Yeah. So, I mean, that blew up, right? The Freedom Educator. It's huge.
It's got 500,000 followers or so, and I got 100 to 150,000 views on my videos as I release them. And actually I had to turn the comments off because it just got distracted, right? It's like, all I want to do is deliver. I'm not looking for something back. But when someone reaches out to me, occasionally I'll bump into somebody at a public event and they'll say, "Aren't you?" And I say, "I am." But to hear what they say, the impact's like, wow, that's a blessing.
What we're witnessing is Aloha Thumbprint.
It really is. I just think about all of those people that you've impacted and what happens if you ignored that 3:33 a.m. call. And then not just that, you may have explored the idea, you may have allowed it to download and written about it and then never taken any action steps, right? And that is the part about Aloha. You have to have the ultimate intention, but you also have to show it. And that's the thing about the spirit of Aloha. It's not necessarily what it is as a noun, it's what it is as a verb, and it's the way it makes you feel. So we talked about the Freedom Educator, but what I really want to kind of dig into a little bit is how you got involved in your power journey. What was life like before that? What was life like after that? And the freedom that you've been able to achieve through that, because it's inspiring for a lot of people here, especially who are considering making Go Local Powur a part of their journey.
Well, there's a story here now. Don't know if you know what you opened up.
Okay, I'm game.
I've been in the solar industry for 12 years.
Okay.
And prior to that, I was in the dirty energy space and probably helped millions and millions of homeowners through some door-to-door teams that I built in the past. And what had happened is I had adopted a special needs child. I have to breathe when I say that because it brings up a little bit of that heart feeling. But she has cystic fibrosis, and I started researching what can we do when we bring her home to make sure that she's comfortable. And as I was doing the research, it was all over every place I looked about what was happening to our health in the world because of pollution, primarily from the production of energy. And I said, oh my gosh, 5 million people. Think about that, 5 million people per year, not per 100 years, per year, are dying due to respiratory issues.
5 million.
Yeah, it's shocking. And what are we doing about it? Virtually nothing. So I said, I can no longer contribute to that. Mm-hmm. And I made a decision to fortunately go back to the company that I was selling dirty energy for. And then the CEO of the company's name was David Crane, and they wanted to start a solar division and start promoting solar. So I began there and ran their outside sales organization. And I moved from another to another company, the largest in the world, who did the same thing. And then I saw the same kind of footprint that they were doing in dirty energy. It's like, I don't want to repeat these type of behaviors and practices. And I came across someone named Jonathan Budd. Changed the game. He came into a meeting at a coffee shop, of all places, with the concept of what he wanted to do with this company called Power. But not with an E, with a U. And we always say the difference is you. And when I met Jonathan, that's another spin on words, right? It's kind of cool. I met Jonathan, because I'm not a good CEO. I identify, and that's not a limiting belief. I failed a few times. So I said, I need somebody who can be a strong CEO because I can drive, I can build, I can train, I can do all sorts of things. But I needed a good CEO. And I saw him, and I knew from that point, this is where I was going to be. It was a very different company back in that day. It was just a lead generation company for one company. And we went from there to lead generation for about 120 companies, to a sales organization, to a install company, to a platform. And that's has enabled us to be able to bring beautiful relationships into our community, to be part of the same community through this platform that allows us to have complete transparency and control over everything that you do with the buying power of the fastest growing company in the world in solar to our data that we see. And on the Inc. 500 list 3 years in a row. The fastest growing companies out of 33 million companies. So from a concept in his brilliant mind to teamwork of about 8 of us to now, which is 7,000 or more and 350 to 400 employees just in a short period of time.
Speaking of Jonathan Budd, that was obviously the gentleman that I got to meet at the trade show that you made the introduction to. And that's something that really struck me right away is just, it's one thing to be a successful CEO of a successful organization. I was able to identify very quickly his heart and his aloha. When we spoke about coming to Hawaii, he mentioned that his reservations were he didn't want to come into Hawaii like some other companies had come in the past and just exploit the market. He wanted to make sure that he came in and with a partner and to respect the local people and the community and do it the right way. And that's really what was astounding to me, that he cared at that early stage, even in the discussions, that was one of the things that was preventing. He didn't just see a market that would be a great place to expand, grow, but he saw that he wanted to do it in the right way. I was really able to identify with that, and that's why I think our conversations just so easily flowed into this partnership that we have today to bring power now to here as Go Local Power, even to allow us to use that name and brand as a local identifier here in Hawaii.
First time Power's ever done anything like that. And I almost want to bet, we haven't talked about this, I bet that might have been your first heart hug, because I pretty much assured Jonathan doesn't shake your hand.
No, that's right.
That was your first heart hug from Power.
Yes, it was, yeah. And I remember coming back from that trade show, super excited, obviously, and just telling my wife about the experience and, what's to come. And it was a journey to, obviously to build the structure and to make sure that we were doing it in the right format. And, but here we are. Yeah. Here we are.
I did love, and I noticed it right off the bat when I went to go see you guys up in Carlsbad. I was going to say Carlsberg. I don't think there's such a place. But, I met you and Jonathan. And it was just so natural. Just sit down, genuine. You can walk into corporations and feel, especially someone like me, down home local girl, walk in and feel like a fish out of water, you know. You can feel that energy and that love. And that's something that we really appreciate, you know. People have been really receptive to Go Local Powur. We've had a lot of interest. People are already starting to see their lives changed from it. People who would have never, ever imagined that they could be in the solar industry or that they would have the knowledge, education, skills to be in the solar industry. And I love how we're already seeing that take off. And, you know, you're actually involved daily with this. Just share a little bit about what the experience has been.
No, I mean, it's been amazing because it's so inclusive. You know, already on the platform, like the data that you guys have shared with us, that 48% of the people that are on the platform have no solar experience. We're seeing that the same. You know, these are, you know, real estate agents, stay-at-home moms, insurance agents, roofers. I mean, across all walks of life, all industries that are now able with the platform to help refer people to go clean energy and save money. And I love how you talk about pollution, because solar can be somewhat politicalized sometimes about climate change and things like that. And, you know, one of the things that you really help open my eyes to the fact that no one can really deny pollution. And right now, 70% of all Hawaii's energy is still generated from petroleum-based products, right? You know, it's great that we have this mission to move forward with 100% renewable energy by 2045. You know, however, right now in this day and time, we're still burning oil. And, you know, this is a way that our community can benefit from this clean energy transition through the platform with no solar experience. It's awesome.
That is absolutely, I think, one of the greatest things about identifying who power is, that anybody, take myself, I always say I found my freedom, the freedom educator, I found my freedom through solar, but I truly found it through the solar power platform. Mm-hmm. And much of what you just described, anybody with zero sales skills, with zero solar experience can leverage the platform. But I think even more important than that is Go Local Powur, because you have the support from the local community, which will be amongst virtually all of the islands as we continue to grow.
Well, what they say in Hawaii is that anyone is only 2 degrees of separation away. So in other words, if you know someone that knows someone, then thereby you will know them, right? And so that's why the platform, I think, works even exceedingly at another level here in Hawaii, because we sometimes call it the coconut wireless. You know, everyone can refer someone onto the platform that they know someone that doesn't have solar yet, and it makes sense for them.
And who picks up the phone nowadays to take a call from somebody about wanting to talk about solar, or answers the door, because that's vastly how most of the sales have been created here, through companies flying in from the mainland and other areas into the islands and going out and knocking on doors. This allows everybody in the local communities to be able to deal with people they know and keep that, not only the relationship, the install capacity, everything done locally, and keeping the money locally.
No, exactly. I mean, they call it blitzes, right? So we get people that would come to Hawaii 3 months, 6 months for a solar blitz to generate as many sales as they can in that time frame, and then fly back to the mainland, and unfortunately with the money as well. So this is a great way where we can allow our community to benefit from it and keep the money here in Hawaii.
And it's a nice chunk of money. I mean, that's like, you know, if you're a tier 2 seller, you do one deal, that's the mortgage for a couple of months. Well, depending how big your house is, and we are in Hawaii. However, you know, it's something where people can immediately see a pretty quick return on their investment, of time, of energy, right? Of introducing their people, their relationships, you know, to solar. And so we can tend to be a little solar bruised here, right? Like
solar bruised.
We've been yeah, it's a duckyism. I just made it up. But we've been, you know, sorry, this guy, he just wants to hula on me. What was I talking about?
Just the fact that, the way that the industry has been before.
Oh, yeah. So people can be a little bit jaded, right? And what I love about Power, what it's doing specifically here in our local market, is that when I have an auntie who's going to talk to me about solar, or I'm going to trust one of my friends to talk to my cousin, and I'm going to get that bill, how much more am I going to be interested in getting them the right size system and a solution that's really truly going to benefit them, not just today, but for the next 5 years, 10 years, 25 years. So it really puts a lot of that time and attention and care back into it, where that's the motivator just as much as it is about also selling a product and getting a benefit from it. So I love how there's going to be like a natural sort of, what is it? Not
just
correction.
responsibility and kuleana to make sure that the system is designed properly. That's one of the biggest things that we see in the industry is systems that are not designed correctly, where the homeowner's not getting the full value. Either it's oversized and they've been sold way too much solar than they need, or undersized to where they don't have enough and they still have a significant utility bill.
Because they don't have the local knowledge that they need to do it correctly. And I'd like to speak, if you don't mind, to speak to the audience who may be saying, wow, I don't know anything about solar. How can I possibly make this kind of transition? Here it is. You mentioned tier 2. So I'm going to define that. There's 3 tiers of sellers in the Power platform. And the first is somebody brand new to solar. They call them a tier 1 seller. They go through a course that may take you anywhere from 2 to 3 hours initially to understand the basics about collecting a bill, how to work with a tier 3 partner who's going to help you actually close the deal, educate you and educate the homeowner at the same time. And as you go through that process and you get your first 3 contracts with a tier 3 partner, local here in Hawaii, then you have the ability to advance to a tier 2 seller. From tier 2, you can now close deals on your own, still supported by Local Powur. But the beauty of that is you can earn your way to become a local tier 3 seller, helping other tier 1 and tier 2 sellers. So that gives you the ability to have a career path without having to know everything about solar, without having to be an expert, and will help you do that. That course alone, I used to sell that course when I was the solar doctor back in the day. I used to sell that course for $5,000.
Nice.
The course that they go through in tier 2. Power took that course, plus they hired the best-selling author. Book was called Selling Solar. There was so much synergy between our way of educating, to your point earlier, that it was just a perfect match. We collaborated, as well as Rachel McDonald and 5 other people, for a year to release that course. That course is the best training in the solar industry, bar none. And you get access to that for free as being part of the Power platform with Local Powur.
Well, I can totally attest to that because as a solar company owner, I invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in training for solar sales. And I would spend all the money on the training and train the individuals, and many times only to have them go somewhere else. So what I was able to identify really quickly is the quality level of the training that's in the Power platform. Bar none, the best I've seen, and the easiest to go through. I mean, like I said, we spent $5,000 a month for years just on training. And so just by partnering with Power, we were able to shed those costs and actually get better trained people and train them from the ground up, right? To train them in the right ways to sell solar. So they're selling it ethically, with Pono.
Yeah. And I think that's something that for me is really important. We get into conversations about this all the time, is I want to make sure that the selling that happens is responsible. And so it's incredible that there is this resource through the Power platform for people to learn enough to be able to get people interested in solar, talk about some of the benefits of it, but not have to invest years and years of their lives to actually be able to sell it, because that's the power of partnering with that tier 3 salesperson, somebody who lives it, breathes solar every day, right? That's going to be able to, be that check and balance, if you will, to make sure that everything is sized properly, to make sure that all of the facts are stated accurately and stuff. So I think that's
a certified solar professional.
Certified solar professional, yeah. And I love that. I mean, I don't know anywhere like where you could literally spend 3 to 5 hours and get enough education to be equipped to go out there and really start supplementing your income or changing your career path,
And we know this firsthand. We have the best example that we could possibly use is my in-laws, her parents. Zero solar experience. Have heard us talk about it all the time because we're blessed enough to have them live in our home and help us and support us in what we're doing. But my mother-in-law retired as a HR director that she was 25 years in human resources for the travel industry and hotels. And she went through the course. And actually just yesterday, we helped them close their first deal. So this is,
Love it.
Yeah. And that's, a major income booster for them as retired.
So back to what I was saying, speaking to the person who might be saying, is this the right thing for me? You talked about you don't have to be full-time, right? You can start this very part-time. And what you just witnessed is the ability to collect an electric bill, work with a partner, just let them do all the hard work, if you will, the education. You can have the ability, potential of making thousands of dollars simply for following the basics and getting that electric bill, and then build that pathway to whatever extent you want that to be. And we can talk about multiple income streams besides that, but the first most important one is educating homeowners. That's where the vast majority of the money is made.
Yep.
So we're going to party, right?
We do have a party coming up.
I want to talk about the party because I'm really looking forward to talking about the party, except that I wanted to go back a little bit to the education piece. And we're in a really unique situation. Now, because of the power of the platform, about 7,000 different independent solar consultants, right, are going to be able to now reach into Hawaii and offer solar here in the islands as well. And being from Hawaii, I understand and know that sometimes people can be resistant to things like this. You had talked about, and you say this often, that especially in solar, what we're used to are people coming in, staying for a couple of months, making a lot of money and jetting back to the mainland. And so what I think is so interesting about this transition, this partnership, is that you had mentioned it, Jonathan Budd is so receptive to doing this the right way. He wants to do it in a way that's Pono. And so we're actually able to, we've created a program called the Aloha Multiplier. And it is a way to equip those people, those mainland sellers, about how to do business here in Hawaii and how to do it with Aloha. We want to set them up as well for success, right? So there are certain things that, you're like, oh man, I wish somebody had told me that it's poke, and that's raw fish, not pokey, or like if somebody asks you if you want to eat some poo-poos, it's not actually doo-doo. Sorry, too much. But we're really excited for that, just being able to create some of these tips to make sure that they're successful, and also to give them some of the background about how industry has come in before, sort of the mentality here, the aloha, and how to really just come from that place of truly wanting to help somebody, because that's what's going to make it really easy. And I know that anyone who's aligned with Power and their beliefs already are coming from that place. So I think our intention really is just to provide a little bit of translation.
Yeah. I love that it's been done from particularly the local basis. And we learned a lot of lessons from selling in different markets. We actually created something called market development trainings. And we'll obviously have those here once we're fully launched in the next few weeks. And it gives the ability for somebody in any market to be able to learn about the markets on a live session. But having it as part of our training curriculum is a first, and I think it's going to be a home run for everybody. Do it the right way.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, to encapsulate that, what really we're so fortunate and blessed for all parties is that the Aloha Multiplier curriculum will be presented on the platform. So just like you have the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 trainings, this will be a training that the sales individuals could go through and equip themselves and learn about Aloha and multiply that Aloha when doing business in Hawaii.
This is so radically different. Like, people don't do this.
Corporations
don't do this. They don't take the time to get to know. They kind of come in, think that they can do things the way that they've always done it, status quo, make some big mistakes, and then hopefully correct from there. So I'm so excited that there's a company that truly does care about doing this the right way and is sensitive to the people here. So
I call those other companies the seagulls.
The seagulls?
Seagulls.
Why?
And that is because they fly in, they crap all over everything, and then they fly out.
Oh, my gosh. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen it a lot. And the local Kama'aina have definitely experienced it, and that's why they're so resistant, because they just don't want to be taken advantage of. And I think this is, the marriage that we have here in Power and Go Local Powur, and the way that Power is entering the Hawaii market with this Pono mindset and, with Aloha and actually taking the time to teach their people about Aloha. It's revolutionary, really.
So let's talk about that party.
Let's talk.
Well, I want to let you know that Evangeline and I have already schemed some outfit changes. We're going to go like full Kardashian on this.
Nice.
No. No, but we're really excited, wanted to create, something to match the excitement that we've been seeing here. So we'll be having our launch party this coming Saturday at Vaikai. They've got a brand new wave pool. I've heard that the waves that they can generate in there go up to 60 feet. Like the 60-foot wave.
Maybe it's 60 foot wide, not tall.
That
still
would make
60
sense.
feet? Still 60 feet?
That's
Still
right.
60 feet.
I think
Okay,
maybe
yes.
6 foot high.
Oh,
yeah, 60
okay.
foot wide. So you get 60
Well,
foot
that was
of
kind
riding,
of a common
I think.
sense thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, it would topple the building, I think, 60
Oh,
foot. Yeah.
All right, let's stop talking about that. But yeah, we're really excited. And we're so glad that you guys are here to officially celebrate with us, because this has been a bit of a journey, right? Yeah. It's taken a lot of time, a lot of investment, and we want to kick it off right. And we're so excited. We wish we could celebrate with our ohana over in the mainland, but we'll just make sure to take a lot of nice video to send back so that they feel really bad that they couldn't be here.
We will definitely have plenty of video to go back, and we'll share that on our upcoming, we call master classes. I picked up on that in a major way when you were talking about the feelings that people have and the Go Local type of, how this really birthed Go Local Powur. Yes. At the numerous launch events that we had to get everything prepped, that was one of the greatest feelings that I got from people. You are really caring about doing what we want to do. We want to keep this local and we'll block these other companies from coming back in here. Just there's going to be no place for them to go. Mm-hmm. No. Because we'll have the most incredible team here, and then supported by sales from people on the mainland, mm-hmm. but handled here on the islands. And I think I love it. And you mentioned Evangeline, just so if anybody doesn't know, that is my wife, Evangeline, who is here with me, and it's great to have her be part of this whole journey as well.
Yeah, you must be doing something right, because she's a knockout of a woman, and she's just so sweet. So that's one thing that I can say I love about this is, you guys are family now, In
fact, after I left the last time, I think we exchanged, gosh, I was only gone a day. I missed these guys.
we genuinely missed you. After one day. That's a pretty good sign. Yeah.
So, I guess, what else you got?
Oh, the party. So I think we're all
pretty stoked about that.
About this party. Looking forward to the official launch party. Vaikai. Brand new spot, big attraction. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Can I put you on a hot seat for a second?
By all means.
You've been in the industry for a while. What would you say are some of the hard lessons that you've learned?
trying to do shortcuts doesn't work. Trying to do shortcuts just simply doesn't work. And I witnessed what you talked about earlier, and that is wrong size systems. It's really not a good deal for the homeowner. So Powur does I think a meticulous job of ensuring that it is a good homeowner experience. And by providing the local knowledge, which we are bringing together, and all the design equipment without you having to be an expert as the solar entrepreneur, that's what Powur and Go Local Powur will deliver, is the best overall experience for the homeowner. I often say that I don't work for a solar company. I work for you. You're the homeowner. I work for you. I'll get access to the best equipment pricing, the best warranties, the best installation companies, and the best financing solutions through a platform called Powur. That's what you're going to have access to, is something that nobody else in this industry to this day, besides those who are in Powur, have access to. And the best part of that is it's Go Local Powur. So the experiences, I say that because the experiences I saw that so many homeowners are unhappy a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, and they say, this isn't producing what I thought it would produce, or my gosh, I'm producing way much more energy than I need. I paid too much. We don't want homeowners to have that experience. None of us do, obviously.
Yep. You know, there are a lot of people that are excited about this opportunity, right? A lot of baby sellers, if you will. And with 7,000 across the United States, I'm sure you've seen some similarities in the ones that are successful and the ones that sort of putter out. If you could pick out a couple of those things and highlight them, because I think it would be helpful for the people that are just getting started here. Maybe some tips.
Yeah. And I've witnessed both sides of this, the good and the bad, or the indifferent, for lack of better words. And that is, the most important things to do is to stay committed to the process and make contact with your friends, your family, your colleagues about what it is you're going to do. Not to pitch them, or not to sell them, but to let them know we can educate you on a way to get your power, to save money, also help the environment, reduce pollution, all the great things that we can do. But the wonderful thing is that you don't have to do it. And the really thing to look at is to get as many electric bills as you can. And I say get 10 electric bills, 10. And once you have that, you'll be on a path of financial freedom, because one contract, one deal makes it real. That's all it takes is one. So stay with it. Stick to it part-time if you have to. Do what you have to do, but get that first deal. And when you have that first deal, everything starts to flow. Yeah. And then you just have easier conversations with people. So if you can just really focus on getting electric bills, forget about everything else. Don't get distracted. Get electric bills. Have those brief conversations. They take as little as 5 minutes. And that can put thousands of dollars in your pockets. Yeah. Thousands. And then everything will start to just continue to roll.
I tell them, keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
You don't need to overcomplicate it. Just get the electricity bill. Have you noticed that your power prices have gone up recently? Of course, right? Let's see if we can possibly help you. Let's see if solar makes sense. Let us do a free evaluation. And then, like you said, the solar professional will be able to design the system and bring the best value and educate the customer.
And if it doesn't make sense, we'll let you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'll know, we'll know, and no one loses.
Yep.
Hey, so speaking of getting over that first hump, we've actually, part of our Aloha through Go Local Powur is hosting the Sprinters group.
Yes.
Have you shared that with Charles?
Briefly, yes. Yeah, I did.
Well, share it with the world, please. No.
So, we identified, those that were committed right from the beginning and were ambitious and were hungry to learn more and craft this skill and be successful in the Power platform. So we got a group of 22 people, actually, that we call the Sprinter Group. So it's a 90-day program where we mentor them. And it's a goal achievement program, not a goal setting, but a goal achievement program. And we meet once a week, and we go through different trainings and lessons. Breaking limiting beliefs is one of them. How to create your value proposition, how to get the bill. And this group is doing exceptional. In the last 2 weeks, we've got over 20 bills, 10 appointments to help these homeowners go solar. I mean, it's super exciting what's happening. And so just these 22 individuals have really started to move the needle and seen firsthand how this business, how this platform, Go Local Power platform can change their life financially.
And I'm assuming new people, as they come aboard, will be able to tap into that same incredible knowledge base.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. So we are planning to have regular cohorts. This is our inaugural one.
Yes.
So what I really love that's coming out of it, though, is this incredible team building.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of breaks down these barriers, because some people can go into this space feeling like, oh, every other seller is a competitor, right? But no, this is like a shared team. This is a mission. It's that everybody can benefit. We're going to achieve this renewable energy goal, and we're all going to like come out of it on top. And I love that. That truly is Aloha, and they're finding this new family already.
Absolutely. Yep.
Think about that, not only here, but if you know people who live on the mainland in the 23 states, all you have to do is have that same conversation with them. You don't have to fly out there and meet them. Through the leverage of the platform.
Yep.
You can help them make that transition to solar and get paid as well.
We're seeing it already. Yeah. Seeing it happen.
Well, this has been incredible. I always love when we get to chat with you. You're so well-spoken.
Oh.
So calm all the time. I need to take some of your vibes. But yeah, it's we've been looking forward to this, and I thank you so much for sharing with us and sharing your heart hug and some of your personal story. We definitely feel the aloha from you. We know aloha is a way that you operate. And so just last thought, like, what is your vision for Hawaii?
I want, and I believe, that Hawaii will become the top selling entity in power of all the states that we have. You know, it's always rotated between California, Texas, and Florida. Until this past 6 months or so, now these other markets are starting to grow up. And I know that through the leadership we have here in Go Local Power, that we have all the ability to be the fastest growing state in the platform, the fastest growing organization in the platform. And I'm just so honored, really, just to be working with the two of you and the team members that I've met, that I want to be part of that vision and help us achieve whatever any of you want to achieve. You can do that through this team and through this platform.
Well, I'm believing for that.
Amen. Yeah.
Cool.
Exciting. Well, thank you, Charles. We really appreciate you. So glad. Thank you again for answering my LinkedIn message. I felt a little intrusive, but persistence paid off, because I really believed right from when I saw what the Power Platform was that this is what we needed here in Hawaii.
All right. Well, that's a wrap then.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha.